Welcome to We Hope and God channel. We're jumping into one of our deep dives today. Taking a moment for some quiet reflection on God's Word. Just trying to share personal insight, maybe something I saw as a layperson reading a passage that really, well, reveals something about the love and grace of Jesus.
And that's exactly the hope, isn't it? To really get into the text, distill that core truth, and then share the grace we found there. Hopefully this meditation can be, a small light for your own walk with Christ. Today, we're looking at a really foundational story. It touches on authority, entitlement, and what happens when we forget God's deliverance.
Okay, let's get into it. So the focus today is the story in number 16. And I have to say, this is one of those stories that's, well, it's sobering. Honestly, it's kind of terrifying when you really read it. To get the weight of it, we really need to know who was involved, who these rebels were. It starts right there in number 16, verses 1 and 2.
Right. And what's really striking, I think, is that this wasn't some random mob. No, this was like a planned uprising. And it was led by some pretty established figures. You've got Korah at the head. He's a Levite, son of Izhar, son of Kohath, which means his family line was already chosen for, sacred duties, really important stuff, carrying the holiest items for the tabernacle.
Okay, so he wasn't an outsider looking in. He already had this significant role, this access, just maybe not the top job, the priesthood that Aaron had. And he pulls in others with serious influence, too, like the Reubenites, Dathan and Abiram, and also on lawn. They represent tribal authority, right?
Exactly, political clout. And crucially, they weren't alone. The text says they were joined by 250 Israelite men, and it specifically calls them well-known community leaders, appointed members of the council. Yeah. So these are respected people, the kind of spiritual and political influencers of the day, and they're turning against Moses and Aaron.
And their main complaint, it's right there in verse 3. It sounds almost reasonable on the surface. They basically say, hey, the Lord is with all of us. Why do you guys, Moses and Aaron, set yourselves above everyone else?
It sounds like a call for equality, maybe, but that's where the context just hits you. We absolutely have to remember who these people are speaking. These individuals, Korah included, they were eyewitnesses. They weren't hearing stories passed down. They saw the Nile turn to blood. They experienced the Passover, the actual saving miracle. They walked through the Red Sea on dry ground.
Yeah, when you put it like that, it makes the complaint almost mind-boggling.
Yeah.
How do you witness God literally reshaping nature, destroying Egypt for you, and then turn around and question the leader God's clearly using, it seems like they chose to forget?
Well, and that leads right into what we could call the wilderness factor. It's easy to forget miracles when the day-to-day is hard. Life in the desert wasn't easy. It was tough. They were thirsty, hungry, probably scared, wondering when this journey would ever end. The Bible shows us again and again that as time dragged on, people got weary. And that weariness, it turned into grumbling. It just erodes your memory of God's goodness.
That feeling, it's so relatable, isn't it? Being tired, worn out, even when you know God has done amazing things, it clouds your perspective. And this rebellion, it didn't just pop up out of nowhere, right? This happens pretty soon after that whole disaster with the spies returning from Canaan.
Exactly. Perfect timing in a terrible way. They had just collectively lost heart. Remember, 10 spies came back terrified, saying, "We can't take the land." And the people believed the fear, not God's promise. They started questioning Moses' leadership right then, which was really questioning God's plan.
Okay. So the seeds of doubt were already sown.
Deeply sown. And when you doubt God's plan, you start forgetting his faithfulness. And what rushes into that vacuum? Often it's human ambition and on entitlement, pride.
Which brings us back to Korah. I love Moses' response to him. He doesn't immediately defend himself. Instead, he reminds Korah about the grace he already has. He says, basically, isn't it enough for you that God set you Levites apart to serve him, to be near him?
Yes. It's such a powerful counter. Moses exposes the root issue. Korah's desire for the priesthood, it wasn't about wanting to serve more humbly. It was pride, human ambition. He was looking at Aaron's role, what he didn't have, and completely dismissing the incredible holy work God had already given him and his family. Moses literally asks, is it too small a thing for you?
That's convicting. It's like spiritual jealousy, isn't it? Being given something precious, but being unhappy because someone else has something different, something you think is better.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And because this wasn't just a political squabble, it was a direct challenge to God's chosen order. The consequences were, well, severe, immediate, terrifying. God himself stepped in. He defended Moses and Aaron and judged the rebels in a really dramatic way.
Which forces us to ask ourselves, doesn't it, when we get caught up focusing on what we lack or the role we think we deserve.
Yeah. Do we end up forgetting or maybe just minimizing all that God has already given us? Do we devalue the specific calling he's placed on our lives right now?
That shifts it from just an ancient story to something very personal, very current. How does Korah's rebellion show up today? Maybe we don't gather 250 leaders, but we can easily form these little invisible factions in our hearts, can't we?
Oh, absolutely. Think about how it plays out. It might just be that low-level, persistent complaining about our situation.
Mhm.
Or, it's when we start comparing, we look at our quiet, behind-the-scenes role, maybe at church or work, and then we see someone else with a more visible, maybe more praised ministry or position. And that little voice says,
Why them and not me? Or
"Hmm."
my contribution isn't valued as much.
Yeah, exactly. Or maybe it's discontent with our job because it's steady but not, glamorous or exciting like someone else's seems to be.
We're kind of doing the same thing, aren't we? Saying, God, that's nice for them, but I think I deserve that kind of platform, that recognition, that comparison trap. It just feeds pride and makes us forget the grace we're standing in right now.
And the story of Korah gives such a clear, if stark, call away from that. It calls us back to faithfulness. The Lord is asking us, I think, to stay committed to the portion and the mission he's already given us. Right here, right now, your faithfulness in that small corner, that task that feels insignificant, God sees it as precious, just as vital in its way as the high priest's role was.
And that, for me, that's the core grace that came out of meditating on this. Just the simple, calming realization. The grace given to us today is enough. It really is. We don't need tomorrow's grace yet. We don't need grace for the promotion we hope for or the ministry we dream about. We need grace for the next hour, the next conversation, the next act of service, right where God has us.
That's the practical application, isn't it? Instead of letting ambition or comparison divide our hearts or cause friction, the call is to walk humbly, to honor the roles God has given, both in ourselves and in others, and just serve faithfully where he's planted us. Remember, the Levites' job wasn't the top job, but it was essential, keeping things running, maintaining that sacred space. Our roles, however they look, they matter in God's bigger picture.
So the real takeaway, the desire it stirs up, is just wanting to live in that sufficiency, to serve Jesus, simply. Without the comparing, without the complaining, just remembering he saved us when we had nothing, offered nothing, pure grace. And because of that, we get to live now with this incredible hope of his kingdom. Everything else is, well, it's just a bonus assignment, a gift to handle well, not something we're owed.
And maybe the final thought to leave lingering is this. If we tie it all together, when we feel that sense of entitlement creeping in, that feeling we deserve a different role, a bigger platform, are we maybe, just maybe, questioning God's wisdom in where he has us right now? Or worse, are we forgetting the sheer magnitude of the rescue he already performed for us? It always comes back to his grace being sufficient.
That's a powerful thought to sit with. Well, we hope this meditation can truly be that small light for your walk with Christ today, a reminder of his sufficient grace and the deep blessing found in just serving him humbly right where you are. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
When doubts arise and shadows grow, the wilderness feels long and slow. They saw the sea divide before, yet forgot the love that opened the door. He called them each by name to stand, but pride took a root and formed a band. The ground would shake, the hearts would learn that only grace can make us turn. Hold my heart from rising pride, keep me walking by your side. Teach my soul to stay and see your calling's where I'm meant to be. My name. When doubts arise and shadows grow, The wilderness feels long and slow. They saw the sea divide before, yet forgot the love that opened the door. He called them each by name to stand, but pride took root and formed a band. The ground would shake, the hearts would learn that only grace can make us turn. Hold my heart from rising pride, keep me walking by your side. Teach my soul to stay and see your call